How can we consciously approach relationships? All right, hello everyone. Hope you're having a great day and welcome to my channel. My name is Thomas and I do educational videos on many different topics, fundamental topics that have been quantized by people over time, including me, and presented so that they're very simple. They may be difficult to start because you have to unlearn some stuff that you already learned about some of these subjects. But once you can kind of get past that, the subjects become a lot more simple. And to make them even easier, for the first unit in this class, we've been studying the tree of life. And we've been looking at the tree of life from every angle, 144 different angles on the tree of life. And we use that primarily because, well, it's a great tool and a great resource to have at your disposal all the time. But in particular for learning large amounts of material, it's ideal for integrating large amounts of material, organizing it, and prioritizing it, and remembering it. So we learn the tree of life first. It's valuable in and of itself, but then it also really enhances your learning process once you get it. It's kind of like you get the key, and then once you have the key, it's much easier to break the code. Okay, so here is the tree, and this is an ancient diagram that goes back to at least ancient Egypt and probably before. The ancient Hebrews used it. Modern Hebrews, many of them, the Orthodox ones, use it. It's also used by occultists around the world. Christian mystics use it. And a lot of people who are kind of evil use it as well. It's got the reputation of being evil in and of itself, but it's just technology. It's just like any other kind of technology. It can be used for good or for evil. It's just like a computer. It's actually the person that I learned Tree of Life from. That's actually what he called it, an ancient computer. That's basically what it is. It's a map of our faculties of consciousness. And you can see that it has 10 circles or spheres that are numbered. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then there is also a thing here called the abyss, which is an implied circle or sphere. And then there is a 0 above the tree. It's a total of 12 different categories, or 12 different aspects of our consciousness, 12 different faculties of our consciousness. And then you can take it to another level. You can take all 12 of those and you can apply them to each one of the 12. So you really have 12 by 12, or 144 different minor aspects of our really stages of consciousness. And I've compiled that list of the 144, and if you'd like to get a free copy, just click the link in the description. I'll send that out to you, and it'll help you keep score as we go through all 144 different angles of the tree. So it'll just give you kind of a way to keep track. Okay, now to start here at the 10th sphere, this is really our faculty of instinct, survival skills. This is our fight or flight response, the law of the jungle, kill or be killed. This is also our life force, which is, keeps us alive just instinctually. We don't have to think about it. And in fact, a lot of times when we do think about it, we end up inverting our life force and damaging it. We do that through defilements of the body, also through lusts and addictions, and so the 10th sphere is really also then about the body. Okay, the 9th sphere, the 10th sphere is really our wild animal in the jungle. The 9th sphere is our domesticated animal. And so this is what we get in the home, in our domestic situation, where we are growing up, the first years of our life, where things are just fresh and new and amazing to us. And, you know, we find fascination with the most mundane things. And we stare at them, particularly when there are caregivers living in the home with us. We stare at them and are amazed at what they do, and then we try to imitate what they do. Eventually, we try, and then we take that imitation, which we usually don't do correctly. A lot of it has to do with like hand-eye coordination and things like that. And we have to practice it over and over again until we get it up to speed. And then once we, you know, kind of have it fluent, we memorize it, and it kind of really goes back down to the 10th sphere. So it's a process of learning here at the 9th sphere. Heightened receptivity, imitation, practice or repetition, and then memorization. Now, the problem with the 9th sphere is that it is blind. It doesn't discern between what it imitates. So it'll imitate, you know, good, and it'll imitate evil. It'll imitate constructive, and it'll imitate destructive, depending on what influences you know, that are there in the house. Okay, where the 9th sphere is like the domestic sphere, the 8th sphere is the public sphere. So this is what you get once you start going into public. You go to school, you go to church, you go to the mall, you go to the rec center, and you encounter other people with other kind of different upbringings, but you also encounter the establishment, the institutions, the powers that be, and the experts that tell you what you're supposed to believe and how you're supposed to think. So they give you, really, your faculties here are your belief systems and your rational faculties. And these are both very useful, but they can be corrupted, especially because the 8th sphere is a trickster. So the powers that be, they're not always telling you the truth about things. They will lie to you if it's convenient for them, if they have to. They'll tell you the truth if it's convenient also. But so a lot of what we learn, we really need to kind of examine it rationally. A lot of times what happens is they construct a lot of rational fallacies here, such as consensus. So, you know, they convince you that just because everybody believes something, that makes it true, which it doesn't. And so a lot of times, and the problem here is that it's somewhat of a trap, because this is where all the resources are. So you have to get in here to a certain extent in order to get enough resources for yourself. But at the same time, you can't get trapped in here, because you have to recognize that this is only your 3rd faculty that you're opening up. You've got 9 more to go, really. And so this is not the end of the journey, but it's being presented by the establishment as if it is. You have arrived once you get to the 8th sphere. Once you kind of climb the ladder. You know, if you do things the way you're supposed to do, you get the highest grades on the test. If you get the highest grades on the test, then you get into the best schools. If you get into the best schools, then you get the best jobs. Eventually, you're like a junior member of the 8th sphere. You're one of the experts. Okay, and but you can get trapped in here if you don't use your rational faculties properly. It can be like an emperor wears no clothes situation, where what they're telling you to believe goes against what you actually have experienced to be true. And you will turn your back on your rational faculties if you fall into that and you pretend that it is true when you know that it isn't. Now you have to, again, you have to do that to a minimal degree, give it lip service anyway, just to get the resources you need, but then you move on instead of staying there and continuing to play the game that they want you to play. So you move on to the seventh sphere, where the eighth sphere is the real world, so-called. The seventh sphere is the imaginary world. So this is what you imagine that the eighth sphere could be if it met its potential. You know, this is you're imagining something better, and you're trying to manifest a real alternative to the eighth sphere through other faculties at the seventh sphere. In addition to imagination, we have our inspiration. This is being able to be motivated by seeing other people do things that you strive for. And then we have our intuition, where we use our curiosity to ask questions of ourselves deep inside and get the answers. The answers will be correct. Whether we translate them correctly or not is a different matter, and so we have to verify the answers that we get from intuition. We also have our creativity, our ability to put things together into novel relationships and also pleasing relationships. The pleasure principle here is also at the eighth sphere. And this all culminates with your creative product that you put together, it's your creative life that you put together, which is really like your higher calling, which is bringing together all of your strengths and all of your affinities, and taking into account your position in the universe and figuring out the best way to be yourself in the universe. Okay, then we move up, and then that inspiration, that higher calling will give you the inspiration to be able to move up here to the sixth sphere. And the sixth sphere is really our center. If this, I would say it's our outer center, or outer core. And this is, if this were a map, it would say you are here, right here. This is our free will faculty, our ability to make decisions and our ability to pay attention. So we find that we're paying attention, though, down the tree. So we mostly pay attention to the eighth and ninth spheres and the 10th sphere. So what we have to do is we have to use the other aspect of free will, our ability to make decisions and to decide not to pay so much attention to this area, and to turn ourselves around and pay attention to the higher part of the tree, which is a scary proposition because the higher part of the tree is mostly undeveloped, whereas this is all kind of developed. So it's a staring into the unknown, basically, and that brings around fear. But if we can stand in the face of fear, and then we can direct our attention to the fifth sphere, we can propel ourselves on our spiritual evolution. Our fifth sphere is our sense of justice, our sense of fairness, our sense of good and evil, right and wrong. And this is also what you would call karma, the law of cause and effect. Cause and effect. You can think of it like karma as being a mirror here that reflects our actions. So for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. As you sow, so shall you reap. And what comes around goes around. And so if you act here, you will get a reflection back to you in the form of a reaction. And that is karma, and karma grades you on your violence, waste, and violation. So if you violate people, you will get violated in return. If you are violent to people, you will get violence in return, and so on. Now, this can be bad fortune, so you could be viewing karma as your enemy because it's punishing you. But if you're paying attention, then you can transcend karma, because you can turn karma into your friend, because it's actually giving you feedback on your actions. If you're paying attention and being honest with yourself, when you get a bad reaction, you'll say, what did I do to deserve that? I must have done something. And it could be a past life kind of thing, but once you kind of live down your past life regressions through sacrificial practices, more or less, self-sacrificial practices, and you're able to tune in to what you're doing wrong and able to clean up your behavior, and then eventually reduce and even eliminate your karma. And then karma is not your punisher, it's actually your protector. If you don't have any karma, then nothing will happen to you. So you have immunity, spiritual immunity, if you can really make friends with karma and understand it. Now, karma is the enforcement of the natural law, or the natural order of things, at the fifth sphere. At the fourth sphere, we actually have the articulation of that law, and that comes in the form of cosmology, an ancient holy book, a theory of everything. And these run the gamut. Most civilizations and traditions have one. The creation story, who God is, or who they are, and then who we are. What's our relationship? How do we all fit together? How does nature work? What are the laws of chemistry and science and mathematics? And then also, we also have our, so that's a universal law. We also have the universal love and universal language. To give, seeking nothing in return, and to be able to love our enemies. And then also, we have the idea of synthesis. So the idea is that all these different cosmologies out there, we really need to study as many of them as we can, not just one, but many of them, and learn them, study them, be diligent, and then use our intuition. Use our intuition to go deep inside and figure out how to sift through them and how to understand them in the context of your life, how to understand them the best. And that is the syncretic or synthesis process. That's also here at the fourth sphere, where the fifth sphere is about analysis, the fourth sphere is about synthesis. Okay, now when we go up to the abyss is also, we pay attention, and this is about omens. Omens, or synchronicities, or uncanninesses, recurring themes, anything that's anomalous, that's an outlier, that's a very strange thing that we have, we comment to ourselves, that's really weird. It seems to be just very unlikely occurrence. And that is something we need to pay attention to. So that is the first aspect of our psychic powers, is our psychic receptivity, to be able to actually recognize these things when they happen and recognize their importance, because they will also contain within them a course of action. And that course of action, if we can follow that, that's the second aspect of our psychic powers, which is our psychic heat. So this is the courage to actually act upon the omen, which is similar here to the sixth sphere. We have to have courage, because it's going to put us out there. It's going to, basically, we're looking at the unknown. We're stepping into the unknown. And so those are the psychic powers. The omen is really a magnetic charge, and so the abyss is really about electromagnetism as well. Okay, then the 3, 2, and 1 that are at the top of the tree are really our divine faculties within. So this is omnipotence, all-powerful, 3. Number 2 is omniscience, all knowing. And then 1 is omnipresence, all present, all at once. We tap into this through sound synchronization, often with letters of the alphabet, the units of power in the alphabet. And this is really like our omnipotence, our all-powerfulness is our ability to really accomplish our higher calling, to basically carry that to fruition. Again, we can use shamanic drumming, we can use sacred music, whirling dervishes, being able to use music and the rhythm and the sound to tap into our various powers, which are enumerated by the spheres. So each sphere basically has a different letter that's connected with it, or a group of letters. So like the 4th sphere is SHR. So sh, and in order to like implant the mantra, you have to put an NG or an M at the end of it. So shring. And use that in a different formula, and you have to repeat the mantra over and over again. It's called japa. Okay, then when we go to the 2nd sphere, omniscience, all-knowing. This is wisdom. This is really our ability to solve problems. We can also propose solutions for other people as well. This is the oracle function or the divination function. So we can either kind of do it from the 6th sphere if we're not able to get to the 2nd sphere. Then we use a surrogate wisdom, which is the oracle or the divination system, like a tarot deck, and we ask questions of it. But we can also do it ourselves through our inner vision. So if we're able to really shut down our mind so it's not thinking, and lean over to the thinking side of our brain, to the imaging side of our brain, then we're able to like actually see through our mind, because our mind has become calm, and when it gets calm, it gets transparent, and we can see to the center of our mind, the deepest center of our mind, and what we see is the image of wisdom. So what we see there is really the solution to the problem that was posed. And then at the 1st sphere, we go even deeper, because we not only are able to see to the core of our mind, to the core of ourselves, but we are able to be at that core. So we merge with the higher self or the creator, and we experience the singularity. And that singularity is basically what's at the center of me is what's at the center of everything. And so we are all unified together through this singularity, through this oneness. So it's not only is it oneness, but it's everythingness. And then if the one is like everythingness, the whole universe, 0 is actually nothingness. And nothingness, it's a total mystery, because it is not part of the universe. There is no 0, there is no nothingness in the universe. There is everything. And the 0 is part of the creator, but it is not part of the universe. So it's the part of the creator that it reserves for itself. Okay. Now, again, you can take all these 12 categories, and you can superimpose them upon each one of the spheres. And that's where you get the 144 minor aspects. So today, we're actually looking at the 7th fractal, or the 7th sphere. And then we're looking at the 4th fractal, or the 4th, fractional part of the 7th sphere. So that's what we're looking at, the combination of the 7th sphere and the 4th sphere. And, so remember, the 7th sphere is, imagination, intuition, inspiration. It's also pleasurable, our pleasure principle, and our creativity. And so this is where our, amicable relationships are. And then the fourth sphere is really universal law, universal language, and universal love. So really what you generally have is you have the fourth sphere is a universal love, and the seventh sphere is like a particular love. And so a love for a particular person, not for everybody. So the question here, number 43, how can we consciously approach relationships? And it's called Get Up in Love. Stage number 43 is about being able to have relationships without giving them undue emphasis. Trance of romance. Lovey-dovey, please control that folly. We sought refuge from the nightmare that was the late Bardo. We ducked into a cave that turned out to be our mama's womb. Mama was one of our pair of rents, one of our two parentheses for our early life. We chose them, apparently, by hiding in the womb, which looked like a cave. Sexual arousal is arousal of the life force, Ra, or Chi. Libido is the power behind the will. Love is the focus of awareness. Romantic love is being entranced and controlled by images. Romantic love has a target, a direction. Romance, friendships, and companionships. Romantic obsessions that we highly overrate include nostalgia and sentimentality and dependency. Romance is only the first step of a relationship, the spark. We have to build from there. Inherited from the Templars, the chivalrous troubadours, and the ruling dynasties, from Juliet and her beau Romeo, Antony and his lover Cleo, novellas, tabloids, sappy songs, and soap stories, all about romance of the beautiful people as they define it, without gender constraints. It began by having a date to assess what an artist created. Soon, we're impatient for sex. Oh, so long we have waited. For pretext, we get together to discuss how good the food tasted. And then we got so effing wasted. But to build from the spark, the romance, to a relationship, start asking the tougher questions. Endure an ordeal together and observe our complementary neurotic structures balancing each other out. See each other at our worst. Like anything else, romance can be a learning experience to teach us all about intimacy, closeness, and independence. Our partners and us are fellow travelers on parallel paths for now, but our paths may diverge. Romance, it's okay. It's part of life, but it is not the point of life. At times, you must let go of it. So get up when you fall for the trance of romance. Exalt. All right, that is number 43, the fourth fractal of the seventh sphere. Get up in love. And about a week ago, I think we did the counterpart for that, which is number 77, which is called number 76, which is called Universal Love Offering. So that is actually the seventh fractal of the fourth sphere. So the universal love is the seventh fractal of the fourth sphere, and the get up in love, the limited love, is the fourth fractal of the seventh sphere. Just if you're keeping score at home. And I appreciate that you stuck around to the end of the video. You can please click the like button. You can share the video with others, and you can subscribe to the channel. You can also make constructive comments in the comment section. Click the link in the description if you'd like a free copy of those 144 Fractal Faculties, which is for free. And then you can also donate to me through Cash App or Venmo listed in the description. I'll be presenting another one of the 144 Fractal Faculties tomorrow, so stay tuned for that, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you.